With that, I'm going to turn the next item over to Dr. Hefner for our superintendent's report. Dr. Hefner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. I am happy to report that great things continue to happen here in the district. We're very happy to be here at Spring Hill tonight and commend you for all the wonderful things you have going on and the track record of success that you're so quickly establishing here. Since we last met, I'm happy to send out congratulations to the Chapin High School wrestling team, which won the lower state 4A championship, and issue a proud thanks to our long-term coach, Ken Wilson, who is retiring this year and has done a wonderful job at Chapin High and before that at Dutch Fork and throughout a long and wonderful career here in the district. Also, an event that's almost defies description in terms of Irmo High School's boys basketball team winning the lower state 5A championship in what has to be described as a Cinderella season. When they started out not doing too well and just kept getting better and better and won the lower state championship in an exciting game and had a chance to play for the state championship. And while they did not win, I can't think of any event in recent memory that may be any prouder than the fact that they were there and what an extraordinary job that they did. Heartiest congratulations to Coach Tim Whipple. How many victories does he have now? I've forgotten. It's way, way up there in the hot.
700.
How many?
Over 700.
Over 700, and has played for 10 state championships and has won 5. And for this particular team, as he said, it was more about the journey than the destination, but for them to have had the success they have is just so heartwarming. Also, congratulations to Chapin Intermediate Schools School Improvement Council. They are one of the 5 finalists for the Riley Award, which is the top award for state for SICs in our state. Those are just a few of the things that have occurred since we've last met, and many other great things to occur, and look forward to giving another fine report on those events at our next meeting. Now tonight, as a part of my superintendent's report, I wish to give you an update on Vision 2020, and I'm going to do that from here because I have the screen in front of me and I can see what is coming up. And as you'll recall, the initial Vision 2020 was presented to you on September 12, 2016, and it contained 5 major objectives. Number 1 was to add a 3rd wing to Chapin Middle School. So I want to give you a report on that. We skipped this. There we go. It is on schedule for completion. The new wing should open in August of 2018. You'll see the photo on the left, how the site looked at the beginning, or just a few months ago. And on the right, you see where we are today. You can see it's taking shape, and again, it will be, it's on track to open in 2018, this year in August, so happy about that one. The number 2 step, or the number 2 part of Vision 2020 is to build a new elementary school, Elementary 13, in the Chapin cluster. So where we are with that is this. We have property for an additional school has been purchased per the board's approval on July 17th, and the board has approved as of February 12th the issuance of an RFQ to procure design services for a potential elementary school. So that's where we are with component number 2. Component number 3, to ensure that the district can adequately plan for growth and to ensure that the district can effectively execute those plans, I recommended that we restore the Assistant Superintendent for Administration position, which had been left unfilled since 1996, as Chief Planning Administrative Officer. Where we are with that is this. Within the existing staff, a planning office has been created, or is being created, I probably should say, under the direction of Dr. Michael Harris, whose title has been changed to reflect that, and he is the Chief Planning Administrative Officer. And we look forward to sharing with you in the months ahead the various accomplishments that we've had within the creation of a separate planning function within our district. Component number 4 was to continue to expand magnet and choice options throughout the district. And you'll recall that Spring Hill High School was one of our steps that grew out of Vision 2015. And so it's to continue to expand magnet and choice options to A, make optimum use of existing space, B, to enhance the ability of each school to compete effectively with other schools in our district and community, and 3, to meet the unique educational needs of our students. So I'm happy to report, as you know, the district received a $13.7 million federal grant earlier, just a few months ago, to add additional magnet programs beginning with the 18-19 school year. So we've been planning for them, and they will open this August. And the 4 of them are listed in alphabetical order. The new ones are the Montessori program at H.E. Corley Elementary School, which has generated a lot of interest. The IB career-related program at Irmo High School, which I think is a very exciting and novel addition to our program at Irmo High, which I think will prove to be very appealing over the years. We've changed the STEAM program at Leaphart, the STEM program at Leaphart to STEAM, adding arts to the science, technology, engineering, math magnet there, again drawing much interest, as is our arts integration program at Nursery Road Elementary. So very grateful for the federal grant, which makes it possible for us to provide these additional programs here in our district. And you heard a report a couple of weeks ago telling you that we have applicants for all of those programs from all across the district. And the one I want to focus on tonight is number 5, the 5th component of Vision 2020. And I want to stress the word assess and prioritize the need for and to identify a plan for these projects. And all of the earlier ones, all except the last, were on this at the onset, which had been out there for a number of years. Those are upgrades to Nursery Road and Harbison West Elementary schools that were constructed in the era where there were not walls, and we do not have the permanent wall space that we need for today's technology. Also to upgrade Dutch Fork Elementary School, one of our oldest and most historic schools, which looks great, by the way, but it needs much work for it to remain contemporary. And H.E. Corley Elementary School, which is now about a quarter of a century old, is certainly in need of upgrades as well. Again, I want to emphasize these are not listed in order of priority. These are things that have been out there and been on the list, and I'm saying that one of the things we need to do is to prioritize them. But the second bullet is an auditorium or a fine arts center for Chapin High. The third thing is for upgrades to our technology infrastructure, which is an unending need in this district. And of course, technology is no longer a frill anyway. It's an absolute necessity for teaching, for learning, and for assessment. Upgrades and additions at Dutch Fork Middle and Dutch Fork High. As you know, at Dutch Fork Middle, we're over capacity. It's closed to choice. We need additional space. At Dutch Fork High, our needs remain probably are more related to the age of the facility, with upgrades needed for many things to keep the school in good condition. Next, improve facilities for maintenance and transportation, operating out of hubs and buildings that are certainly in need of tremendous improvement. Upgrades and additions at the district office as well, in a building that goes way back, supported by a number of less than desirable trailers to house the staff that's necessary to run the district. Upgrades to safety and security infrastructure. Again, we all aware of how far we've come on that topic, but in today's world, the needs continue, they grow, and we must continue to provide the safety and security that our campuses need. Upgrades are needed at Crossroads Intermediate, Irmo Middle, and Irmo High. That's not related to needing more space, but relating to making sure the space that we have is in good shape, good condition, particularly with plumbing, restrooms. As those buildings age, they need attention. The construction of yet another elementary school, which I'm calling Elementary 14, will be needed within the next decade, as from all indications, as we continue to grow toward the west end of the district. Eventually, we'll need a construction of an additional intermediate and/or middle school, also in the west end of the district, as our population grows there as well. Added after my initial presentation and just revised again tonight based on the input that we've received through my meeting with some of our SICs and the input we received at our meeting at Harbison West Elementary about a month ago. Additional athletic fields are needed. Improved lighting on existing athletic fields is needed. And upgrades to existing athletic fields and facilities are also needed. So those are things that, again, component 5, we need to assess and prioritize the need for and identify a plan to fund these projects. So tonight, I'm bringing you this official recommendation, which is that you authorize the administration to issue an RFP for professional services to acquire a comprehensive facilities needs assessment. And Derek, if we could go back to that slide, thank you. Again, I'd emphasize this is just the list of things that have been identified at this point. They're not prioritized. And a couple of things we have estimates on that are valid and current. But in the case of most of these items, we either have no estimate or the estimate would be very old and out of date and needs to be upgraded. So therefore, I think as your item number 14, I am requesting that you allow us to issue an RFP to begin the process to acquire the professional services that are needed to, first of all, assess what it will cost to do each of these things so that we may use that to inform the board as the board makes its decisions about which items to fund, when, and how. So that concludes the superintendent's report for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Hefner. Ms. Hammond, you have a question, Dr.
Yeah,
Hefner?
just clarification. If we have questions on that, you want to wait till we've had that
I'll
as a
take them
motion?
either way.
What would you prefer, Mr. Gant? I can do it either way.
Why don't you go ahead since we just did that?
Okay. One, I wanted to find out, I know in the past we've had committees. Would we, as far as this group that would, is it mainly to assess the cost and not the prioritize? That'd be more from us.
Yeah, step one is to assess the cost. I think then when that information comes back to you, you as a board would decide how you would prioritize those things. It would maybe something you would do, or it might be something that you would involve other people in assisting you in doing in terms of prioritizing them. I was not here 10 years ago, but my understanding is that you received information from your community as you decided how to prioritize the projects you last took on.
Because I all of that was on slide 5.
Derek,
They're
you put
all
that last slide
Yeah,
back
put
up.
that- let's skip. In other words, they're all important. So I do think it's good for us to discuss with the community how we will prioritize. Because certainly if I'm at Irmo High, or if I'm at Chapin, or we have sections of our community, and we got to serve them all, and we got to be fair. So I think how we decide to prioritize would be, is something we have to think about as a board. And so I just simply wanted to see if you had a specific way you thought was better.
I don't have a specific plan on doing the prioritization at this time. I do think it starts with having an assessment of what these items cost before you are able to really, I think, make an informed decisions about which projects you take on when. I think you need the information about how much it will cost.
And we would not have, and you've answered this for me, but I do it for the public. We don't feel like this is very different from what you mentioned to us, where we've got our staff or your staff of 5 going around really checking for any needs.
Yes, thank you for
Yeah.
that opportunity to clarify that. We have our facilities staff, which has been engaged in a process of going literally to every square inch of the district, and they have been looking at really the cleanliness of our facilities and the state of our facilities. And they have compiled a very comprehensive list. The items on their list are things that would be routine items like carpeting, painting, HVAC systems, roof repairs, technology needs. And those are things that you typically fund out of your 8% funding, or it may be out of some of the items that are smaller in cost would be funded out of our routine maintenance budget. But they are not there. They're not there to make a decision about what it would cost to build a new facility.
Right. And if I might, the one on Irmo, wait, now where did I just see it? About the IB, where am I seeing it, guys? I wrote it down.
Are you talking about the magnet program?
Yeah, it was, yeah, go
It would
back.
be
I'm
number
sorry, I thought it was in
4.
5. Anyway, it had to do with the IB program, which is one of the, it was listed, and I just wanted to see how that was. I think it said career. It somehow connects IB program to the career.
I'm going to ask Dr. Milton to answer that, if she will.
I don't know
The
where I
IB,
saw
the
it.
IB.
I'll make sure Jason's got the right slide.
That's
Rodney's
it,
got the right
yeah.
slide. Thank you,
Yeah.
Rodney. So the IBCP program is actually a combination between Irmo High School, a partnership between Irmo High School and the center. It is fairly unique to make sure that students have the opportunity to be enrolled with IB classes at Irmo High School, but that are complemented by classes at the center, so they can have an opportunity to get certified in an area that aligns with their IB focus. It's pretty unique. We know that there's one already in the state of South Carolina, but we're trying to design ours to match the programs currently offered at the center, but also to maximize the IB program at Irmo High School. Currently, because of the schedules that our IB students have at Irmo High School, their schedules are so filled with their academic courses, they don't have the opportunity to come to the center the way some other high school students do. So this guarantees them an opportunity that they can be engaged with the center and pursue their own certification area that may recruit more students into the IB program and make them more competitive.
Well, that's why I wanted to ask. I thank you for that answer, because
Absolutely.
I really think our IB program is so important, and it's unique to Irmo, and anything that we do that enhances it, or anything you see like this gives them an opportunity they haven't had.
Absolutely.
I
It's
appreciate
not
that.
required for every IB student. It's for those that have the right fit. So those students that are interested in programs at the center, they can decide their focus and align their courses of study to make sure that they have the opportunity to be in both, instead of having to choose another program within Irmo High School or another school of choice in School District 5.
And Mr. Gannon had one more question.
Okay.
Thank you for letting me, because I made my notes now. When we have a grant, we have the grant money. What do we do when that grant money runs out? If we've used it more like seed money, and then we can keep on those programs, or are we limited to the program going on as long as the grant money is provided?
Well, our goal is always sustainability, and of course you need, I would call it seed money to get started. I think an example would be through the arts program at Irmo that we had in our last grant. You need funds to buy the musical instruments and buy other things that make it possible to do those particular offerings. but you're doing it with a goal that it can sustain itself after it goes. And the tricky piece is always people. So if you have additional people who come on board to help crank up a program, it's incumbent upon the district to figure a way to work that so that the positions either phase out, or if there are positions that need to remain, that there are ways that maybe you redirect existing positions in order to maintain those particular programs. But once the money runs out, it's not like the district picks up that $13.7 million.
Right,
We don't. When
right.
it runs out, it runs out.
Well, I think that's an important part of the puzzle, because I know that we, as the growth goes out toward the west of the part of our district, I think it's so important to keep our older schools, offering something that's important as well as keeping them vital. And I know the magnet schools has been successful in several ways, but I just wanted to ask that question about funding and about the grant money. If we
Thank you for
we
the
get it going,
opportunity.
we hope to keep it going. That's all.
Any other question or comment? Dr. Hefner, I want to thank you for bringing to us tonight the possibility of moving forward to assess and prioritize. We all know that we had needs that haven't been addressed from our previous 2008 referendum, and some of those needs are just growing day by day. So I thank you for bringing that and for this 2020 vision and plan that we have. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any other question? Nothing? Thank you, Dr. Hefner. We appreciate the update on Vision 2020. And that will bring us to item 12, which is public participation.